바지 이근도 돼 예수께서 원비 최기 론용어제는 농알다 반 민소 김남 바지 주라 돈은 기본 로종 냠수 돈담 냠수랑 된 중냠에 거부라고 마도 인 메데와서 긴도 민로가 곰두베체 님부터베체 지바이 세워다 이 가슴으로서 다 최세도 원람이라고 있어요. 어떤 날 어머니 이게 뭐마다 되게 잘해요. 아 이게 뭐만 이미 규제내야 가르치고 보아래. 오빠 시비가라 뉴모 때문에 제차지라 뉴모 고바시고 맞아. 뉴모 당근 맨데기지라 고바시고 진디가라 뉴모 타심바지 통나 텔레트니 라고 매지라고 와. 나는 곰발세니 아니 뉴모 고방문도 제 고바인데 뉴모 세세차 도배요. 어떻게 이거는 뭐니 걸어가니까 이게 뭐 맞을 때리지. 근데지 이제 월남이라 이제 지 하기 미도부터는 월남이기 아니 해연선 아니고 대지 통나 최기 롱요나 정말 딱 간지지 다들 이제 맞아 냄새기 통하나 정말 방도에 내 잔도에 열만 와 정말 윤구로 용나야 딱이 월남기 파인 마소 공기 동아들 월남기 파인 통을 보니 유문 가서 다 유문도 단지기 동아들이 최종 개발 첨부식을 딱 야지게 삼아요. 지들이 그 동아들 간이 줘야 마시비 지 사업을 진지 근데 남자들 맡으시 용과 파인 통 되겠더라. 나지 야포리. 그럼 로가 로톰보 로종의 책 통보를 내는 게 되긴지나 가와지고 기와치만 민재기 전주기 민재기 앞에 만롱아 송기님이 구하기 친딜 민송산에 아니 좋아하기고 와서 그때 샌들이 좋아하기 맞나 아주 야보 좋아 야보니 니 경험을 내기 내민지 진짜가 민바데 pe 야보 좀 삼선이 이 기루와 딱 오니 이 와서 때마 좀이야 지 이미대와 미겨 아직 다시 니 마서 삼선지 이미대 미겨 엔 간이 주나 돈은 요번에 네배 디치네 아니 배 돈은 이거번에 아니 이거를 참고를 이제 순거 같은 거네 아주 기도와 삼당고가 아 돈은 시비가라 다 운중어제를 지단에 나가 먹어도 아파서 곰자두가라 용문도 교대나 운중어제단데라 룽참마 봐봐 세대 소비가라 지수도 와 아니 디 돈에가 돈은 이렇게 베풀어진 시비가라 양 딜이 잡아차도 와 여기지 룽참마 봐봐대 그랑 우들아 미바때네 아니 즉룽 너분이가 우 수념도 파당 영어는 그런 미바때야 마도 진다 삼상관 시나요 다 돈내 거니 미바치는 디가라 우니 사바차고 가르세 아니 돈을 미바치 디가라 니시미바 돈 자민 미바찬도 돈이 아니 배 즉 소시 루이 론제 대사 가리나 대타바디 다 때만이야지 상당고와 같이도 막 잠배니까 써도 되는 거고 인도하라 즉 루이 장상권을 많이 저렇게 쳐고 레미미가 치디가라 참 니지미가 써도 되네 뭐 참절의 견대기 semchen tamchiki dungal la ne be kyondo ji la nishi se korwa kyondo ji loji ne nishi se korwa imi ba saldo tane digi je ne be ji karso ne nasa ina ne be kare imani ba chacha rangi le ne nishi mi ba saldo tena rangi ne be tasimi samushi tangdo so 어떤 도시 지리가 딘디기 야는 책임질라 이 모자기 누가들 너트비야 미도아 어떻게니 이거 예 이미데 켄도 미로세야 와다 딘데 두고 딘디지는 콤바 타싱기나 아니 자 가서 다예 말한 로정 님부에 충분히 더 비싸 님부 찾아가 말이야 님부 그나마 보지 와 님부 충분히 다 오는 수준은 가대자 둘지 대 님모라 빠 그러다 되니 라빠 있는 거다 참고 인시해요 그러다 보스 되라니 배 님부 더 비싸 있는 수준도 아니 또는 나를 주로 나라 운종을 줘야 돼 이 경험을 진다 이 어디라서 된서 이때 야 운종을 좀 말아도 와 나군 때에도 지발에 삼을 결정한 챌린지 상상 같이 양 말하시도 와
지체산 로사인 비기실라 샤우베 시네라데
님부터 제 지치바 있는데
님부 통매체도 침번이르셔 I should have read this before. The primary importance should be given to the two witnesses. Other people may also serve as a witness, commenting that you are engaging in proper practice and that your mind has become smooth and cool. But this is of no help. The vitally important thing is that when we examine ourselves, under any circumstances, we should see that we are not deceiving, fooling, or embarrassing ourselves. If we have trained our minds with regard to the most unpleasantly worldly phenomena and achieve what we desire, this shows that we have trained our minds. The text says, constantly cultivate only a joyful mind. Again, this is a root text, constantly cultivate only a joyful mind. Having experienced the flavor of the teaching through meditation, whatever adverse conditions such as suffering and ill repute may arise, if your meditation is unaffected by such discouraging conditions, and you only generate happiness and rejoicing, thinking, the practice of mind training through giving and taking has been meaningful, then the counteracting forces have been initially effective. So it talks about kind of, the last part, counteracting forces have been initially effective. Now the practice that you are becoming, if you do it properly, as mentioned here, it is kind of now becoming a small kind of, antidote practice. And how this is becoming here is basically, this the root text, cultivating only a joyful mind. When we look at the, the object of refuge, the true or ultimate, the real object of refuge is in the Buddhist teaching or Dharma. And when we look at Dharma, what is Dharma or teaching, we come down to cessation and path. Cessation and path. And when we look at what is the cessation, cessation is intentionally kind of ceasing all, we can say, negative or destructive, or afflicted part. And so when you reach to the cessation through effort or through deliberate effort, you reach to the point where all of these ceased. That's what we call cessation. And so therefore cessation is something that can be attainable through effort, through practice. And so that kind of understanding is important here. The another way of saying is that somebody who has understanding of practice and teaching, or here the flavor of teaching through meditation or whatever, so somebody who has some understanding of practice and teaching, and that we can attain, that cessation is attainable through path, and somebody who has no understanding at all. When these two different individuals look at the same or encounter the same suffering or problem, there's a great differences between these two in kind of, in terms of how much they are suffering, or impact of that suffering on those two individuals. Somebody with the the flair of the teachings, understanding of the teachings, of cessation and path, and to that kind of individual, all those same kind of suffering, hardship, but to that individual, hardship or suffering becomes, at the highest level, it becomes a cause of happiness and joy, because that kind of individual can take it in such a way through understanding of practice, or meaning that now this is right time to experience these kind of difficulties, when I have all kind of sort of fully equipped to deal with the suffering, so I can deal with it in a very constructive way. So it becomes a source of joy, happiness, encouragement. Those kind of individual with their practice understanding can deal it with a very positive, very constructive, very kind of meaningful way. And if not, that level of capabilities of dealing, but at least having some understanding of teaching and practice will not destroy your joyful mind when you encounter hardship and suffering. So this is what we're talking about here: constantly cultivating cultivate only a joyful mind. So the importance of this joyful mind, and how kind of it is, how or in what way you can attain that joyful mind. And here again, this kind of joyful mind comes important practice of the mind training through giving and taking, a Tonglen practice. Tonglen practice, as you know, many different levels of practice. One simply could be exhaling and inhaling and breathing, and just kind of bringing your mind to the stable state. But another more deeper level, doing it really through kind of actual visualizations of, when we say, giving, using a very skillful means of loving kindness, and then kind of, giving, when you give, using all kind of, your skill of love and loving kindness, and giving everything that you possess, and when talking about taking, you're using a very skillful means or understanding of compassion. Compassion here, as you know, wanting to protect or save other sentient beings who are undergoing through suffering. So then kind of taking, their suffering, illness, everything that you could through your visualization. So, this kind of practice of giving and taking, using this, then the more one is used to this kind of practice of giving and taking, Tonglen practice, the more, the higher or the stronger impact on you in maintaining a calm and joyful when you face, suffering or difficulties or problem. And so maintaining this kind of joyful mind or cultivating this joyful mind, such as practice here, the giving and taking, when you are able to do that, to reach at that kind of level of, even when you are facing a hardship, difficulty, but through your practice, such as giving and taking, when you are able to sort of remain unaffected by hardship and suffering, then that becomes kind of what you are seeing here is kind of, as mentioned here, you are experiencing the beginning level of antidote that is generating in your mind. Now you are no more kind of impacted or disturbed by suffering and all those hardship, and so in a sense, you have gained an antidote for very kind of gross level of afflictions or delusions or suffering. Although, of course, it is not. You cannot. That doesn't make you to deal comfortably with the subtle afflictions or delusions or suffering. But the gross level of suffering, now you can deal with it without any suffering from your part. So, in a way, as mentioned here, it's a kind of forces have been initially effective. Now, the forces within you is serving you as an antidote at the very gross level. In brief, it is a great mistake to destroy your virtue through anger that rankles over slight hardships encountered in the course of mind training. So here comes the intensity of the negative impact of anger or hatred. How, as we see in the Shantideva's text, to guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life, and engaging the middle way by the another text. So in the Shantideva text, it talks about, if you remember, in the chapter of patience, one moment of anger can destroy, the roots of positive activities or virtuous activities that is created for 100 eons. So you can see how intense, the one moment of hatred of anger would be. And engaging in the middle way, in that text it talks about 1,000 eons. But here the differences between these ways. The first one is in reference to the anger or hatred generated by bodhisattvas and then expressed to another, by bodhisattvas. And the second one is anger. And when we say bodhisattva, again, that has to be more the proper understanding here is the bodhisattvas at the beginner stage. When you look at the 5 path, path of accumulation and preparation, and above that path of seeing, bodhisattva doesn't foster or doesn't have anger or hatred. And the second 1,000 eons refers to in reference to the anger or hatred generated by ordinary people and then expressed towards bodhisattvas. So in that sense, 1,000 eons of virtuous activities will be destroyed by one moment of anger. And one moment here has again different interpretations of duration of time according to the higher school of thoughts. Average human being, snap time, when you kind of divided that into 300. When you divided that into 360, and one would be, one moment. So therefore, with that understanding of the intensity of the impact of anger in destroying the positive or virtuous states, it is important not to create this mistake. In brief, it is a great mistake to destroy your virtue through anger that rankles over slight hardships encountered in the course of mind training. The great Shaupa said, there is no worse form of abuse than to say that your spiritual friend has no peace of mind. This kind of abusing, criticizing others without actually knowing the reality. We see kind of warnings such as, in the Buddha's own word, one ordinary human being cannot estimate another human being, or judge. And then also in the commentaries of valid cognition text, it talks about we don't know where bodhisattvas are. They are like a fire underneath dirt. So the point here is that for practitioners, it could become kind of risky in without knowing, making a judgment and just kind of criticizing others, because we really won't have any idea who that other individual is, even among us. So therefore, kind of maintaining more kind of silent nature, having kind of more introverted personality, just thinking, reflecting on how your mind kind of behave or acts, rather than kind of just always looking at others and making judgment and kind of making all kind of opinions and criticism. Then moving on to the next part here, regarding the actual measure of trained mind, the text says, the measure of a trained mind is that it has turned away So turned away is turning away your mind from cyclic existence. The cyclic existence here, more specifically, we can refer to the this very aggregate that we have attained, as a human, and contaminated aggregate, which is definite, going to take another rebirth. So when we look at the nature of our own kind of existence in cyclic existence, or samsara, the proper understanding of the nature of this mind, this body, aggregate mind, should be kind of making us, turning our mind away from any kind of interest in taking another rebirth. Because when you look at this body, aggregate, we know that these bodies serve as the foundation of all kinds of problems, sufferings, hardships that so this body becomes a kind of channel or the basis of foundation, and having attachment, not knowing how to deal with this body properly, would become a cause of future kind of rebirth and suffering. So therefore, understanding kind of the nature of this aggregate, contaminated aggregate, and then turning away, or maybe losing interest, or not having kind of any desire to take another rebirth, is what I mean by here, turning away or turn away. The Javad Ma Lo Magisha, Lo Jong Chen, Jang Wei Chen, Logba in Digital Dibble Church. She has one the Nundu Tank to Samba the Loin. The Javad Lama, Zawaja Bolon Chachar.
Lo John de ta, se umema de karzana, enipe, nyomola, holo, nyomola minjupa, nyomol talen michepa, danzela minjupa, danzela talen michepa, danze wondu nidoa. Ani kroa lo bazidata, teke otimi kacheti kanyawa, ototo usichene. Ani kroa talen michepa, koi ishawamu minjuwa, tanis buwa, lolo se.
The coloring edition, the Devanyam, the two dog, Kishila Zawachable, Javal Shasha, the Javal Lotion, the Tensic Saru, the Lochon was in. She has one the thing that you assemble Nazam, the Twendam, Chanjusum, Young Park, Ranka, when you went to my Julachon way, the Penaki and Ticket. Choose Jungism saying that they shashan't. Regarding the actual measure of trained mind, the text says the measure of trained mind is that it has turned away, turning away from, as mentioned before, cyclic existence. Exists, this human body, and it could also mean, in a sense of, turning away from all kinds of, afflictive emotions or self-grasping or, delusions. Understanding of the, our own kind of body or aggregate. When we talk about cyclic existence, it seems to be sometimes that we are talking about big, samsara, cyclic existence, but we can take understanding in a very kind of straightforward. When we look at this, our own body. Our own body is what we call, contaminated. Definitely going to take a rebirth, a sort of entity or body, and this body itself is the cyclic existence or samsara. We don't need to look kind of far into distance or in a big kind of samsara or cyclic existence. We can just look at this own body, this our own aggregate, and understand how nature of cyclic existence or samsara is kind of with all this suffering. And our physical body, when it is not under the influence of, say, aging, or but when we are healthy, even at the healthy stage, we encounter all kinds of illness, hardship, difficulty, such as currently going on. The blood-related illness. Probably he's referring to Ebola. And why, at the first place, we are experiencing this kind of illness, disease, is because of having this body. And this body becomes kind of a basis or foundation through or on which we experience all of these kind of illnesses. So therefore, we see more detail if you look at the 12 links of dependent origination, how this body serve as the basis or foundation for all of this suffering and difficulties while in cyclic existence. Otherwise, just immediately looking at this body without any of those understanding, it might appear that this body is, kind of something very kind of, attractive or stable or something which is very, but we need to look kind of beyond all of those. So we will stop here for today. Do you have a question here? Yes.
So conventionally speaking, isn't it that mind that frees the body from cyclic existence?
Can you say it again?
So conventionally speaking, isn't it the mind that frees the body from from cyclic existence?
지당 갈어다 지당 셰러다 군주부터는 시단 로시나데 셈기 수부디 디치고를 사글로래 르르치고를 탈바토바치고를 알로도 지단시는 셈기 라오래 셈기 수부디 디치고를 와서 르르치고를 탈바토베를 디디 쇼코치고를 와서 수부디를 탈바토베다 다지기 라운토베디 셈기 치고를 알로도
셈이 다 선달에 이니치오를 해서 셈 남도 nembe wandu chana horwale nipe chinche chaga wale sem zambe wandu ndona horwale tralche chaga wale ate jindol siyada muimati sem rale duwase dindi sem rojong kwere yuzinde
both depends on mind, both in a sense, keeping or binding in the cyclic existence as well as freeing from cyclic existence. Mind, when we look at the mind, the aspect of the mind which is which is of misconception, delusion, afflictions, can become a source of of our kind of body being kept in the cyclic existence. On the other hand, right, what you said, it becomes kind of something. It becomes a cause of our freedom when our mind is, the aspect of mind with the positive side can become something that keeps our body, free from cyclic existence. So there are two aspects, and positive aspect of the mind becomes, something that leads our body to freedom. In the line and circle of snow white mountains, the source of all happiness and benefits flows here, person, charity, tens and gyatso, the main tenets samsara. Just as the bodhisattva manjushri attain omniscience and samandhana to true, so now we do dedicate these merits to train in following their footsteps. As all the victorious Buddhas of past, present, and future, praise dedication to the Supreme. I dedicate these souls of my man for links to the favorite actions.